and the ability to like live out the transformation that really happened to me. My freshman year of college, I got deeply involved with a fraternity, and I decided to really embrace the party scene in a lot of ways. I had a lot of long nights of like drunkenness and a lot of like girls that I treated really, really horribly. Despite that, like I still had kind of this weird like half faith that I'm still holding on to because I went to a small liberal arts school and there was not a lot to do besides go to these Christian events because they were really social people. So I ended up attending once a week. I would go to like a large group with my university chapter that was at my old school. Eventually the staff workers convinced me to go to China with them. I've never gone to the country, that sounds like a great idea. Little did I know that I'd be entirely transformed as a person, but that happened. We don't have time for that, but that happened. I got back from China on August 15th, and I came to the U of I on August 20th. So there was a lack of like acknowledgement of the transformation that happened in me. When I talk about how I'm different, I am being entirely and utterly literal. On the 17th of August, I got an invitation from my ex-girlfriend to like make out. And instead of making out with her, I asked her how her relationship with God was. We didn't close the mood, but it closed the mood to talk about God. Is she really the right girl for me?
No, she ain't!
And then I came here and I had absolutely no idea what I was going to do because I wasn't even sure what I was anymore. And I met Michael B. and Kiwi in the hallway of Scott Hall. And I've been just blessed by the community ever since. But I feel like, shout outs to like the three things that this year has really given to me is that I'm living in a Christian community for the first real time. And it's been absolutely amazing. Particularly in the low Christian community, none of my male friends back home are Christian, so it's been a very intense experience. 3 weeks into the semester, I got prompted to share my testimony with Caleb Granstrom, and that was the moment that I decided that this was the community I wanted to join, because no one had actually cared that much about my life before. Just in that simple conversation, I realized that the people that I was making friends with were really different, and it was a really powerful experience. And then the semester kept going on, I get to like fall conference, and I can't say no to anyone, so I'm going to fall conference. And eventually I decided to ask anyone to an accountability, and that has also been one of the most powerful experiences ever. There's a lot of powerful experiences in my 1 year here. And that has been, I don't think I've ever been closer to a person than Neil in my entire life. It's been super powerful. I'm roommates next year, so roommates. That was the living in Christian community. But my transformation was a lot deeper than just like being amongst Christians. It was really like seeing people through God's eyes, and that's really strange to me sometimes. Now I just have this obsessive compulsive need to like share the work that God has done in me with random strangers. And I've had more spiritual conversations than like I think most people have in like a whole year. I had like this semester, and it's been really insane. That's just this like intense desire to be missional, and it's been like absolutely powerful because I've really figured out that people are not just the ends to a mean, like the selfish ways that I thought I was, but they are the means themselves because they're creations of God, and that has been really powerful just by itself. And I've decided to like take the God thing kind of seriously and making it that number one priority in life. And I do that even like in taking my classes. I decided to take Introduction to Christianity at the university because like I thought it would be a good way to be missional. And in fact it was. That's where I met Thomas. Thomas was a senior who like didn't really know what he believed at that point. I invited him to large group for 5 straight weeks, and he came to the Harvest Large Group and he recommitted himself to Christ. And I'm not sure who was more excited, him or me, but I was amped over there. And that was really the culmination of a bunch of like internalization of the transformation that God had done to me. And it was a really intense time. I actually cried for that night. That was the first time I had cried since China. And before China, I hadn't cried in like 3 years. So there was a lot of emotion going on. But as I wrap up this year, I'm so excited to be small group leading in Wasaja next year. What's up in Wasaja? But I just want to see the transformation that God has done to me be transformed in other people. I want to see and be part of the transformation that God's going to do in freshmen and upperclassmen next year. And I never thought I'd be this passionate about Christ as I am. So that's the one takeaway from this year